Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we got lots in the news today, including new places opening that haven't been opened in over 2 years, and a very lucky accident, which is a really weird way to say that, but really lucky timing in Alaska. So the big story this week, we had a rock slide in Skagway, Alaska. And it happened around 6:30 a.m. in the morning, right when the Discovery Princess was pulling up to the dock. Now, had that happened 30 minutes later, that area would have been crowded with disembarking passengers off to spend a great day in Skagway, off to the White Pass Railway to walk into town. All those things. And not only that, if you've ever gone to Skagway, you know that rock wall that's right there, right close to the cruise ships, is kind of like a tourist attraction in itself, because whenever a ship makes its inaugural sailing into that cruise port, they go on and they paint the date, the captain, the name of the ship, and the symbol of the cruise line, and that whole area is just covered with those signs. And a lot of people stop and take pictures and look up and see what ships have come. And yeah, that's right where this rock slide happened. Now luckily only minor damage was done to the Discovery Princess. They just pulled away and moved further down the dock, and passengers were able to enjoy the rest of their day. Other cruise ships had to be moved to other docks. Unfortunately for one, the Quantum of the Seas, which was just too large to go anywhere else but that dock, ended up missing Skagway altogether. And the Carnival Miracle, they ended up tendering people from offshore, which is a bit of a pain for people in Skagway, but at least they got to visit the port. And like I said, this could have been so much worse. If you look at some of those boulders that fell down, this could have really injured a lot of people had anybody been standing in the path of this rock slide. So that's what I mean by a lucky accident. The timing was just right. Now the following days, they started redirecting cruise ships and rescheduling itineraries. If they thought they would be too busy in the port, they asked one ship to, hey, go to this port first and then come back and you'll be able to dock. So it doesn't look like anybody else right now is going to end up missing the Skagway ports, which is good news for people visiting Alaska. And they are now assessing the damage and seeing what needs to be done to repair it before they completely reopen that dock again. And you can see at that end, there's a cement barrier there right up against the rocks, and it just disappeared in this rock slide. So you know the force of some of those boulders coming down. Again, a lucky accident. And I know one cruise line this weekend is absolutely celebrating. First off, last week, a bunch of the cruise stocks started to rise because of the good financial earnings reports from Carnival Cruise Line last week. I saw some of the cruise lines jump 11% in one day, which is good news for anybody who has stock. I bought one really low, folks. I bought really low, so I'm pretty happy right now. But the cruise line Royal Caribbean Group, the Celebrity Infinity, started sailing this weekend, and that marks the very last ship for the Royal Caribbean Group to set sail again. They are now at full fleet service, which is great news. That means a lot of people are back to work, and a lot of people are being able to get back to their normal lives again and to start paying bills, and the crew are out there, and I know they are absolutely thrilled to be back at sea. If anyone's been on a cruise lately, tell me the crew on board usually hasn't been amazing. I haven't had an incident yet in all my cruises since the restart. They are very happy to be there, and I am so glad to see all my friends and crew members out there back to work. That's the best part of this whole story of the reopening. Doesn't matter if I go on vacation, but people's jobs and livelihoods, that's more important than all of the fun we have on a cruise ship. Now, I do have two other popular destinations that have made some changes to some policies and also reopened to cruising. But before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Really does help the channel out, doesn't cost a thing, and it just notifies you, hey, Don has another video out about cruising. Perhaps you'd like to watch it. That's all it does. It's not going to email you. It's not going to phone you at home. It's not going to bug you at all. But it really does tell YouTube, hey, people like cruising, and let's just share these videos to more people and see how big a community we can grow. And again, I'd really, really appreciate it. And again, thanks so much for everybody who has subscribed. Okay, we have Fiji has finally decided to open back up to cruise ships. That's right, the beautiful, warm, blue waters of Fiji are finally reopening after over 2 years, but they've been open to air travel now for well over 6 months, and they are just opening up to cruise ships now. They do have some stipulations, and that's very important in some of these details. First of all, yes, you have to be fully vaccinated, both crew members and passengers. Everybody has to have taken an antigen test only 24 hours before arriving. And finally, every single passenger has to have a valid international COVID insurance policy. If something happens, Fiji's not going to pay for it. They're saying you have to have that COVID insurance to sign up. Now, how they're going to do that and double check, I don't know. But does that mean you're going to, you know, when you book your cruise and just before they ask you to send in your copy of your vaccine certificates or something like that? Well, maybe they're going to be asking for a copy of your insurance at the time. Because right now, that's the only way you're allowed to sail in to Fiji, which makes it a little bit more difficult because not a lot of policies out there cover COVID still, and it's changing all the time. I know here in Canada, we just had Manulife reopen because of Canada changing their designation of cruising from a do not go to warning, which means they now can cover you in other policies. So check your insurance policies if you're going to Fiji. This is just something else we have to worry about when traveling. It's the world, guys. Finally, we have Bahamas now changing some policies for their destination. Now, to go to Bahamas, you still have to be vaccinated and everything, but you no longer have to be tested for 12 and under, which is a brand new change. So it makes it a little easier for families to get cruising in the Bahamas or just travel to Bahamas in general. But this has more ramifications than it sounds, because if you all remember, not long ago we had the big arguments and the lawsuits going back and forth between cruise lines and Florida, where Florida says you can't ask for proof of vaccine, but as you all know, all the cruise lines were asking for proof of vaccine. So how did they get away with it? Well, they got away with it with the workaround that was agreed to through Florida, saying, well, look, sorry, the destinations we're going to are requiring proof of vaccine. So we're not asking for it, they are. And that's the workaround. Florida has no law saying that another country can't require vaccines. So that was the workaround, and that's why there hasn't been really any interruption in the cruising industry. However, if Bahamas and other places in the Caribbean drop that requirement for testing altogether, that will eliminate that loophole. And perhaps cruise ships at that time will be going, yeah, we no longer can test because the government says we can't in Florida, as well as the places we're going to say we don't need to test anymore. So we'll have to keep an eye on that because that can have more ramifications than any other thing going on sailing out of the United States as far as the testing is going. So we have the CDC looking at testing, and we now have countries of our destination saying we're easing those requirements right now. And if those go away, you're going to see testing go away. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.